Thursday Night Football on Prime, we have the Bucs visiting the Falcons. Ooh, NFC South. Ooh, both red colors. Yes, we have a treat for this Thursday night. Now, if you were telling me last year, are you excited for this game? I would have told you no. No, I'm not excited for this game. But now it's new teams. It's a new me, and I'm excited for this game. I'm always excited for football, though, if I'm being honest. Right now, the Falcons are -1.5, with the total being at 43.5. So to dive into the Bucs just absolutely destroyed the Eagles. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, and buts. It was just total domination from the first second from kickoff. It was like, okay, this was it. And now I did bet the Buccaneers. Don't tell anyone, but I bet the Buccaneers +2.5, even though I'm an Eagles fan, because I knew the Eagles weren't going to be good. It was a rout from the beginning. Now, I knew it was going to be because the Eagles didn't have any receivers. They had no A.J. Brown. They had no Devontae Smith. And honestly, more importantly, they had no Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson is so huge for the Eagles. I think they have maybe like a barely 50% record without him. And then with him, they've been really good. Now, the Bucs front had absolutely no issue getting the quarterback. I mean, Jalen Hurts looked awful, but he also looked like he was under duress every single play. Probably because Lane Johnson wasn't there. That's a key factor. We need Lane Johnson. And the other guards, yes, the line's massive, but they were getting right in Jalen Hurts' grill, and it was just kind of like, oh, you have a little bit of help, and there's a sack. So it was not a lot of fun. The Eagles did kind of make a little bit of a comeback. Maybe the Bucs started off a little too hot. They cooled off, but in the end of the day, it was just end-to-end, wire-to-wire. Bucs were having it all. The reason being is because their offense was really starting to click. When I turned on the TV, I saw that there was a Mike Evans touchdown, and it made so much sense. It was like a high school movie where it's breakfast time and the kid's getting ready for school and he can't eat the large buffet that his mom made him. He says, oh, sorry, mom. Grabs a banana, gets out the door. It just made sense like that. And they also have a great running back room. I mean, you have Bucky Irving, and then you also, on the other side, you have Rashad White. Now, Rashad White, he's more the veteran, but Bucky Irving, he's exciting. And that's just like a fun name. Bucky Irving just seems like someone who just like runs with like an elbow. I think it's because of the B and the I. It just makes it sound like electric because you make the big B, then you go for the U. And then Irving's also like a fun word in terms of the shapes. I don't know. We're talking about shapes and words here. This is a type of in-depth that no one else goes to. But they were just having their way with the Eagles line. And the Eagles line is supposed to be good at stopping the run. I mean, they slowed down Kamara, and Kamara was just absolutely just torching everyone on the run the week before. But end-to-end on the Bucs side, it was nothing but just domination the entire time. Now when we're looking into the Falcons side of the ball, they won. But it was not a pretty win. It was kind of like they were in it, they're out of it, they're beating the Saints, and the Saints came back. It was a little bit weird. It felt like it was, because it was on red zone a lot for the first couple quarters, and just eventually died off. And you're like, oh, where's this game at? And then it came down to one of the last plays. Atlanta's defense also did look better than they looked previously. I mean, obviously, you're going against Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be tough. A little bit easier going against Derek Carr, no doubt there. But instead of the Saints busting out for like 40-plus points like they did the first 2 weeks, they held them under control. Again, probably because I think they contain the edges a lot against that Saints team. Also, I have no idea what Atlanta's doing with Kyle Pitts. They're throwing to Drake London, which I personally enjoy, but it's just like, what's happening to Kyle Pitts? I think he had like a couple slant routes. It touched his hands, or he just missed every single catch. I think he was like 5 targets, maybe 4 to 5 targets on just little baby slant routes. It made no sense. I don't understand why they're not using him as a weapon. Maybe I just don't understand anything about football, but if I had Kyle Pitts on my team, I'd be throwing the rock to him. Warren Sharp did a great breakdown on the final drive too. Let me paint the picture for you if you were not there, okay? The Saints scored a touchdown or a field goal to put them up by, I believe, 1 point. Then at the end, you have a game-winning drive that Kirk has to do yet again. He's driving, and he gets into like somewhat a field goal range, and then he starts taking shots downfield for no reason. Like, he tried to throw it past the 20-yard line where Koo just needed about 10 more yards, and he's really comfortable in field goal range. Instead, they really force him to taking a long kick, and Younghoe Koo has the best aura in the NFL, especially for a kicker. It's not even close. If I was as cool as Younghoe Koo, I would have way more people watching my video. That's just the truth. He made his career-long field goal, and the Falcons go on to win it. And also as a reminder that the best of the number matters so much. So I got the Falcons, I think like on that Tuesday at -1.5. They go all the way up to -2.5. They end up winning the game by 2 points. If I waited, the -2.5 would not have hit, and I also would have taken the -2.5. But since I had the 1.5, I won, and I love winning my bets. Speaking of line movement, again, it's really important, right? So the Falcons opened up -1.5. Now they're at -2.5. So it did shift a full point, and that 2 is a very key number for some reason in the NFL. Don't ask me. I have no idea, but it seems like a lot of games are starting to come down to 2 points within the past 2 years. Maybe it's because we're away from 2022, so now that's more of a factor. But let's just be honest, it's because a lot more teams are going for 2 now than they did previously. because of analytics. When looking at the bet percentage and money percentage, I'm filming this a little bit early, but 39% of the bets are on the Falcons with 50% of the money. And honestly, I have no idea where this is going to go in the future, because I think the public is going to be all over the Bucks. Baker Mayfield, they just dominated the Eagles. Then they're going to look at the Falcons and be like, okay, they did win, but they're struggling a little bit, but they're also home and they have a lot of people to throw to. We have a lot of names in this game right here. So we have Kirk Cousins, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. On the other side, you have Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Bucky Irving, Rashad White. There's a lot of just fun names. Now, I don't know who the public's going to back here. I'm just going to be honest. I'm thinking it is the Bucks. But again, I just listed there's a ton of names on both sides. Who really knows? Looking at some key injuries here, there's a lot more on the Bucks with key injuries than there is on the Falcons. I don't even think there's anyone on the Falcons for injuries right now. I could be totally wrong, but from what I looked at, there's nothing. Vita Vea right now on the Bucks is questionable. If Vita Vea is in the game, he makes the Bucks so much better than when he's not in the game. Vita Vea, key player, write that down. Now, Rashad White is questionable, but to me, it doesn't really matter if it's going to be Rashad White or Bucky Irving. I have them rated about even, so I also don't have any ratings. I just kind of see them and go, yeah, no, I think they're about even, and then that's my entire rating system. All right, let's get into some stats here. Now, I'm clearly reading this off of a website because when the Falcons are in the red zone, they throw it about 52% of the time, which is tied for 9th highest in the NFL. Now, the Buccaneers have allowed a completion rate of 71% in the red zone. That's tied 3rd worst in the NFL. So that's a key trend here of, hey, let's go ahead and back Atlanta in the spot, but I'm going to do the exact opposite because I don't believe in that. Well, I do believe that that is an actual stat, but I'm just going to back the Bucks here. I think they're coming off a huge win. Maybe they got a little bit of steamrolling again. Now, the Falcons, I don't know if they're confident or not confident. It kind of seems like they're in these really, really close games. And the Bucks have just been blowing teams out. I've also been terrible at primetime games, so take this for a grain of salt. I think I'm like 2 for 7 this year, so the primetime games have not been my friend whatsoever. Another reason to back Tampa in the spot is because they're a divisional dog under 3. Whenever it's a divisional dog under 3, you know these division games are going to be close no matter how good or how bad the team is. That's just kind of how it is. So if it's within 3, I'm just going to take a divisional dog usually.